will today begin a new chapter, that is hydraulic turbines. So you might have studied something about it in some energy-oriented courses. Maybe in first year you had something. So hydraulic turbo machines are part of the turbo electric power generation equipment. Okay, electric power is very much required. So you can talk about the per capita electric units consumed by individuals as a measure of the development of the nation. Okay, so we have different thermal is there, hydraulic is there, nuclear is there, wind power is there, solar power is there. Okay, in the case of hydraulic electric power generation, so here the potential energy of the water stored in the artificial lakes or reservoirs created by the construction of mighty engineering marvels. Okay, the dams. These reservoirs have capacities up to 150 kilometer cube. So you see that the capacity of these dams can be expressed in kilometer cube. So 1 kilometer cube means a cube of 1 kilometer side. That is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. Now you might know that it is a very, if you calculate in 1 kilometer cube, you might be able to put all the human beings present in this world today. Okay, that is the cube available elsewhere. In China, people talk about the 3 gauges of about 40 kilometer cube. Okay, though many times wrongly presented that 3 Gorges Dam is the biggest one and it causes a lot of problems, changes the speed of rotation of Earth and all those nonsense. I feel nothing could be true about that. Okay, in India, our maximum capacity is about 10 kilometer cube, maybe Bakra Nangal or such places. And in Tamil Nadu, we have Mettur Dam, which is 3 kilometer cube. Okay. Now about the heights of dam, I said that they are mighty marvels because you see, such tall dams. So in the world, you have, highest nearing around 300 meters. To get an idea of what this 300 meters is, it is 1,000 feet, and one world monument is the Eiffel Tower, which is also around 1,000 feet. Okay, so it is in Paris, and I think in Paris they don't construct buildings above this height, so that Eiffel Tower is a great mark there. So in India we have the Tehri Dam, so maybe Uttarakhand or some place like that. Then the Bakra Nangal, that is also 226. The other one is 260. Then Narmada project, that is about 124 meters. They are all very tall in India. Now the turbines, the turbo machines used for hydroelectric power generation. So you have the common turbines like Pelton turbine, which is used for very high heads, 400 to 2000 meters. 2000 meters means 2 kilometers. So you should remember that our hill stations like Ooty and Kodaikanal, their height is about 2 kilometers. Okay, and each kilometer you go up, the temperature drops by about 6.5 degrees centigrade, the lapse rate. Okay, so these Pelton turbines are impulse turbines, and they may be called tangential flow turbines. So turbines also have a non-dimensional number called the shape number, and which is slightly modified to make the so-called specific speed. So this NST, T for turbine I have used. So specific speed for turbines, the expression is N root P by H power 5 by 4, where N is the RPM, P is the power in kilowatts, H in meters. So these Pelton turbines, their range is about 10 to 50 of this specific speed unit. Okay. about the specific speed, you should understand that for that particular value, for example 1050, if you are designing a turbine, the Pelton type will give you maximum efficiency. How did they find out that? Through experience only. So they have compiled all data about the machines, and they found that in this range 10 to 50, the type of turbine you have to use is Pelton turbine. So in the world you have single units where the power could be even up to 450 megawatts. Then you have the Francis turbine, which is used when the head is about 80 to 70 meters, mostly less than 400, but some cases even above that they have used. I have given some very high upper limit. They are reaction turbines, radial or mixed flow. Specific speed range is from 50 to 350, and they are very powerful. Maximum power around 750 780 megawatts, so very large machines. You should remember that in steam turbines in thermal power plants, single units produced more than 1500 megawatts, 1600 700, they might be reaching around 2000 megawatts. That is the limit for thermal power plant single unit turbine. Okay, there is another turbine called Darius turbine. Doesn't find much place in textbooks. It is mixed flow. It is also like Francis turbine, where the rotor blades are self-adjusting. About this, later we'll discuss what is this self-adjusting rotor blades, which is used in another very common turbine, the Kaplan turbine, Kaplan or propeller turbine, which is axial flow, which is used for low heads up to about 70 meters. They come under the category of reaction turbines. Their specific speed is greater than 350. And these turbines, the head is less. So again, large machines also produce only about 230 megawatt, the maximum power. So Kaplan also has self-adjusting rotor blades. Propeller turbines are similar to Kaplan turbines. The rotor blades are fixed. You can't adjust it. So that has to do something with the efficiency when conditions vary. When the blades are adjusting, even at different off-design conditions, the efficiencies will be higher. Okay. Now, the basic layout of hydraulic turbines. Okay. So these turbines, come connected to a dam. Okay. The dam is the construction. So a reservoir is created by the dam. Then at the bottom, you keep the turbine generator set, and whatever leaves from the turbine is connected to the tail race. Okay, it may be part of a river, so tail race also, the river is coming, so it is let off to the river. The pipe that connects the water from the dam to the turbine, they are very large pipes. They are normally called penstocks, may be made out of steel or concrete. Okay, and think of a Pelton turbine unit where the height is say 2000 meters. Then what will be the pressure at the bottommost of the penstock pipe? Can someone tell me? When in the Pelton turbine, you have a penstock, and if the total height of that is 2000 meters, 2 kilometers, what will be the pressure of the water at the bottommost point? Somebody? Are you able to hear me?
Sir, 2 megapascal.
2 megapascal. Or in terms of bar, how many bar?
20 bar.
So 200 bar.
200 bar. 200 bar. Remember, see, bar is a standard unit, like 1 bar, 10 meters of water column. Okay, our automobile tires around 2 bars. Okay, that is the unit used. Then if you come to the pressurized things at home, you have LPG, which is about 6 bars. Okay, the pressure is higher. Then as mechanical engineers, we know that thermal power plants, you have 170 bar is there, and critical pressure is around 220 bar, and we have supercritical boilers more than about 250 bars. So this water, 200 column, 200 meters 2000 meters column, that is about 200 bars. Okay. Elsewhere also in mechanical engineering, such pressures are there. But if you compare between this penstock bottommost pressure for a Pelton turbine and that steam turbine pressure, what is the main? Tell me. Somebody. Do you get my question? Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. So can you repeat the question?
Yeah. See, we are comparing, pressures. See, pressure is an important parameter. So 1 bar means, it should strike. It is about 10 meters of water column. Okay. So I said, automobile, you fill the your cars with air. That pressure is about 2 bar gauge. 2 bar. Trucks, it may be more 4 or 5 like that. Different values for friend and. Then I said LPG. LPG, LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. So that pressure is about 6 bar, much more than the automobile tire pressure. Then you have, I said, thermal power plants. There the pressure, supercritical pressure, it is more than 200 bars. So here in Pelton turbine, when the head is about 2 kilometers, 2000 meters, the pressure is around 200 bar. But what is the main difference here and the thermal thing?
Temperature.
The temperature. See, you have to think of, mechanical engineering, a design problem. What sort of material? Here the temperature is atmospheric temperature. There the temperature may be 540, 600 degrees centigrade. So corresponding material should be there. Okay, definitely that is a more harsher condition. One should take care of in the design. And another thing is about 200 bar, we have the CNG cylinders, compressed natural gas. And I think not very popular here in Tamil Nadu. In Gujarat it is there, Delhi it is there. In that, anybody see the pressure is about 200 bar. Okay, it is there. It is there, used in autos, cars. They use it. Okay, compressed natural gas. Okay, so these high pressures we come across. Now here in the basic layout of hydraulic turbines, one is this, a dam is there. At the bottom of the dam you will have the turbine generator set and the water is let out to the tail race. You see another one, you have water and the dam is there. Maybe very rarely you have such natural dams or some construction, but you keep the turbine, there could be a mountain. In that case, you may have a tunnel. Okay, so very large cross sections could be there. Then you keep the turbine generator set. I recently found out that in near Niagara water, it is falling down something like 60 meters, 200 feet. So that water is also used for producing electric power. So there in the Canadian side, they use a tunnel, it seems. The tunnel diameter is around 42 feet. So that means more than about 12 meters. Very large, something like the tunnel you use for, our roads or railway tunnels. Recently, the Atal tunnel was inaugurated. So such large holes were drilled, and the length of the tunnel in that Niagara plant is about 10 kilometers. So through 10-kilometer passage, such a large tunnel, water is flowing. Maybe elsewhere the tunnel could be more. So instead of taking the tunnel water through the tunnels, in some cases, because the turbine generator set is little far away, there could be an open channel. Through that water will be flowing. Sometimes at the farther end of the channel, there may be a smaller dam, a coffer dam. From there, water will be drawn for the immediate use in the turbine generator set. Okay, such arrangements are there. Now you have another interesting arrangement. See, water is there, a dam. Then on the lower side, there is another dam, or you manage to make another dam. So in this case, the turbine generator set will be kept underground. Okay, so what happens is you can draw water from the upper reservoir, run the turbine, supply power to the grid, the common grid, so that people can use it. Now, when there is surplus power available, this turbine generator set will work like a pump and pump water from the lower reservoir and pump it to the upper reservoir through the same tunnel. Okay, they are called these pumped storage plants. Quite popular. Quite a few are there in India. Okay, in Andhra Pradesh, this Sivasailam Nagarjuna Sagar project is there, where the Sivasailam dam is the upper one, Nagarjuna Sagar is the lower one. Similarly, near in Tamil Nadu also there is one, ranging powers, 500 megawatt, like that. And you find that in this type of pumped storage plant, the power station is always kept underground. That means when people have to go to that power station, there will be a tunnel from the outside. They go down a little bit. Okay. Wonder why they always keep it underground. Okay. Can you throw some light on that? Anybody? The pumped storage plants, the plant is always kept underground. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, some reason you give, you may be right or wrong. At least you can break my monotony. What could be the reason?
Maybe that's how best efficiency is achieved.
Okay, that is one. Anything else?
Because the pump has to work against the water head, so some structural support will be provided by putting it underground.
Okay, anything else?
Sir, so if we if in the underground we have extra water pressure that will support to pump up.
Yeah, you are nearing the answer, but not the exact one. So at least you have found that it is connected with pumping.
So the pump system has to be on the equal height with the lower reservoir. It can't be higher than the lower reservoir. That's why
If it
it's
is higher,
underground.
what will happen?
The negative back pressure, water vapor will be produced, and that error.
What is all that? Technically, what is it? We are studying. Oh, yeah, we studied. No. Well,
Yes, sir. I can't remember the name.
Sir, hello.
Tell me.
Sir, it is underground. So in this case, when that turbine will act as a pump, in that case, we need not to use priming.
Very good. So that is it. So about suction. See, when you started answering, somebody said that it is related to pump. So technically, now it will be always primed. You just imagine for such a big machine, if you want every time prime and operate it, okay? So it will be, flooded section. Always it is filled with water. So the moment, see, daily they will use it, because we know that during night time we need more power, especially during say about 6 to about 8 or 9. Every domestic applications, electric power is used. That time it will work as a turbine. Then maybe after 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, nobody will be using electric power. So that time in the grid, which has lot of power available from thermal power stations, which has to be maintained at constant level, so that very efficient working will be there. So that power will be used to pump water up. Okay, in this some switching off, and in many cases generator will in very few cases you may have separate motor and pump for pumping up. Okay, maybe but the passages, the tunnel passage must be the same thing. Okay, some connections could be there. Any doubt in this? Okay. Now something about the technical details. So when you talk about hydraulic power stations, about the head, so you have to remember the two types of head. One is the gross head, the other one is the net head. The gross head is the level difference between the head race, the upper reservoir, and the tail race. So the turbine always is connected between the head race and the tail race. Head race, you have the dam and the impounded water. Tail race, the water flowing down. Maybe the river is also there taking a course like that. Okay, that is the gross head. Then, because of certain flow restrictions, losses, the net head available at the entrance to the turbine will be less by the head losses. The basic equation, gross head is equal to net head plus head loss, or rather net head is equal to gross head minus head loss. So for turbine calculations, we will take the net head. Okay. Another interesting thing is something called runaway speed. See, when the load on the turbine is suddenly removed, okay, some sort of tripping takes place. Suppose the generator is supplying load to so many places, and suddenly some tripping takes place. So generator load is removed from the turbine. So the turbine will start accelerating. Okay, so if allowed for some time, it may accelerate up to a maximum speed, which is about double the design speed, which is called the runaway speed. Okay, so maybe the turbine design takes care of this, but these days there could be a lot of other systems, like once the tripping takes place, the water flowing into the turbine can be controlled, okay, by closing the valve and things like that. So that is one direction. Now these runaway speeds for Pelton turbines are about 1.8 to 1.9 times the design speed. For Francis turbines, it is 2 to 2.3. Kepler turbines, it is little more, 2.5 to 3 times the design speed. Okay. Okay. Now we will take up the Pelton turbine. Okay, it's used for high head, so it's an impulse turbine. The basic arrangement is like this. You have a turbine runner where number of buckets are mounted. Usually around 20 will be there, 20 buckets. And the flow is controlled by a spear valve. So this spear valve, if the spear is moved backwards, more water will flow. So this type of spear valve arrangement is used because that produces the least loss in the arrangement of flow control. If it is conventional valves, it will produce a lot of loss. Here it's a very smooth flow, and it only restricts the flow. It doesn't create much loss. So this waters, the entire pressure head is converted to velocity head here. Okay, something like a velocity of √2 GH. It hits the buckets, and the runner starts running. And traditionally they show a brake nozzle here. That is, maybe when suddenly it starts running very fast, you can use that and control the speed. Or when you want to stop it fast, even after closing the valves here, you can use a brake nozzle, which will send a jet of water in the opposite direction. There used to be another thing also by the side of the spear valve. Another arrangement is there. the deflector plate. So that when comes into the place between the valve and the buckets, it will deflect the water so that the jet will not go and hit the buckets. Okay, I have not shown this. So there's a brake nozzle and there could be a deflector arrangement here. Then the blades are usually called buckets. Now, suppose the head is about 2000 meters. What could be the velocity here? Approximately how much?
Sir, 200 meter per second.
Very good. So it is around 200. Simple equation, root 2 GH. Okay, 2 into G, if you put 10, 2 into 10 is 20, 20 into 400. Okay, 20 into 2000 meters. So 2 into 2, 4, there 1000 and one more 0. So if you take square root, that will be 100. Square root of 4 is 2. So around 200 meters per second. For water, it's a very high speed. Now, corresponding to 200 meters per second, what will be the speed in kilometers per hour? How much?
Sir, 720.
Around 720. See,
So 7.
1 meter per second is 3.6 kilometers per hour. See, automobile we calculate like this. So when we say 10 meters per second, see, very calculations we take in vehicle dynamics, 10 meters per second, that corresponds to 36 kilometers per hour, slow speed inside the city. If you take 20 kilometers per second, that comes to around 72 kilometers per hour, very common speed. And maybe 30 meters per second, that will cross 100. Maybe cruising, that is the speed used. Okay, so this corresponding to 200 meters per second, 200 into 3.6, maybe 720 kilometers per hour, pretty high speed. Okay, now in the Pelton turbine, the casing does not have any hydraulic function. See, you have studied about centrifugal pump. Around the pump, there is a spiral casing. The spiral casing, it's otherwise called volute casing, where the area will gradually increase. So that is for efficient conversion of velocity into pressure. Okay, so there is a hydraulic function. Here there is nothing like this, but still a casing will be there. See, the speed, speed may not be very high. See, these turbines, sometimes Pelton turbines run at speeds like 120, 130 RPM. Okay, very large machines. You will find that the blade tip speed, that has to be around half the speed of the jet. Okay, we will come to that calculation later. So this casing has no hydraulic function, but other safety things. Okay, it will be covered. Okay, now coming to the buckets. Okay, we have two views of a bucket. The bucket, the shape is called double hemi-ellipsoidal. Okay, so one ellipse, another ellipse, and so double. So ellipsoidal means, ellipse, when you rotate about its axis, it will generate a body that is called ellipsoid. And half of this ellipsoid is a hemi-ellipsoid. That is the terminology used. We don't use semi. For example, for circles we use semicircle, but for spheres we use hemisphere. Okay, so this is also, that shape is double hemi-ellipsoidal buckets. Now a portion of the bucket is removed, so a cutout, something is scooped out here to prevent early interception of the jet. So if you see, the previous figure, so you have now one bucket, the bottommost bucket, that is squarely facing the jet, but this jet should not hit the previous bucket. So that is why a cut is there. Okay, it will not cut. Only when the bucket comes little further down, it will be more efficient in intercepting and transferring power. Okay, that is the cut. Then the jet, in the middle there's a splitter, so that the jet is divided into two halves. It's a wonderful, I think, innovation. Probably the Pelton, the person whose name is associated with this turbine, his main contribution is this, to put a splitter here. See, if if you send the water at one end here and it comes out through the other end, you'll find that there will be some axial forces developing. Now, when you split it into two halves, one half may produce some axial force that will be exactly balanced by the other half, so that there will not be any axial force. Axial force means a force in the direction of the axis. See, the turbo machines, you have the main direction, the three directions: the axial, the tangential, and the radial. Okay, the tangential thing is the main thing which contributes to the power transfer and all those things. Rate of change of tangential momentum flux, that is the one which produces the torque. Okay, now slight variations in Pelton turbines. Okay, now instead of a single jet, you can have two jets. Okay, what is the advantage? Can you hear me?
More power output.
Definitely, you get double the power. Remember, the buckets will be stressed, okay, because of jet only during a small interval of time. Okay, the bottommost bucket, the other buckets are not stressed, so now one more is stressed there. So, and the power you get is double. Now, correspondingly, the penstock and other things should be designed so that they will transport more water. Okay. Now, here you see there are four. In fact, there are up to about 6 jets used, and number of blades commonly used, around 20 blades, not more than that, 20 buckets. Okay, some rules is there, so you can't have many. 6 is, I think, maybe optimum or maximum they use, and in such cases the shaft will be vertical. For horizontal shafts, I think only 2 is used. For vertical shafts, 2, 4 or more, uniformly placed around the rotor. So finally, the penstock will have one passage which will resemble like the centrifugal pump scroll case, the volute case. Okay, you will see that the area of cross section will go on decreasing in the volute like arrangement here. The reason is, initially the entire water will come. After sending some water through the first sphere valve, you have less water, so the area of cross section is reduced. Like that, the area of cross section is subsequently also reduced, and finally for the last one, the entire water flows. Okay, any doubts in this?
No, sir.
Okay, so I think that is sufficient for today. So we will get into the design and analysis aspects, okay, technical analysis for Pelton turbine in the next class. Okay, you don't have to send any material, you should for attendance.
Okay, sir.